Hey Spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here and welcome back to Let's Play Civilization 6 as Scotland. Now where we left off, we were in the middle of building a couple of wonders, notably the Colossus and Kilwa Kisawani. A couple of people also raised the question of, does it really count as a tall game if you have 11 cities? And really this is just a leftover from Civ 5 understanding of what tall is. In Civ 5, tall was like 4 cities, but in Civ 6, tall is really about how far apart your cities are. You can see, on average, my cities are actually quite far apart, with the exception of, say, for example, Stirling and Roxburgh. Otherwise, my cities are on average like about 4 to 5 tiles apart, because the real difference for tall in Civ 6 is that you give your cities a lot of room. I could have easily fit in nearly twice as many cities in this same amount of land, but because I'm going for tall, I spaced them out a little bit more. Now, as for our plans for this episode, I do have a cheeky little plan in place with this settler, and it involves forward settling the Malian Empire up here to the northeast. We have our monument completed in Selkirk. Let's get to work on our harbour. It will take 23 turns and we'll be able to place our campus in 5 turns once the city grows. My spy has established himself in the Congo's capital, so we're going to go ahead and start siphoning funds. That's about 500 gold every 6 turns, which is nearly 100 gold per turn, a little bit less. But the great thing about siphon funds is that it's a really easy way to level up your spies, which will allow you to pull off more different kinds of varieties of missions with a higher success chance. Found a meteor site over here, which will give me a free military unit, which is a knight, which is pretty cool because we could kill a unit with a knight in order to get a boost. If we wanted to boost for military service, all we'd have to do is maybe find a barbarian that we could finish off with our knight. So I'll send him off to the north because I remember there were a few barbarians hiding up here behind this mountain range. We have our builder in place in Selkirk, and this is where we plan to put our campus. So I'm going to harvest this tile. This will give me 73 production and 73 food, which will finish a good chunk of this harbour, as well as force the city up to 4 population, which will allow me to immediately place my campus, which should save me a little bit of production in the long run because the price of a district doesn't increase once you've placed it. I think my big plan for this city is to basically harvest everything in here, although I do want to keep in mind that I'm going to want to use what little faith I have to get a couple of naturalists in the late game, so I will want to be keeping in mind how much amenities I have, or sorry, rather how much appeal I have and where it would be viable. So for example, over here, there's definitely a national park in Wigtown, and the important thing there is that national parks give you +1 amenity to the 4 closest cities. So the national parks essentially act like luxury resources. And I can almost certainly put another national park over here as well. So I'll be able to get at least 2 in Wigtown thanks to this natural wonder and this nice mountain range here. There could potentially be a national park in here, but I think first what I'll do is I'll buy these jungle tiles and just start getting rid of them. We'll do this, that'll harvest, and now our harbour is almost already finished and the city is already 6 population and it has tons of really good land to work. I found a barbarian warrior with my knight, and if I get that kill, that'll be a nice tech boost. I am working on scientific theory, but if I finish the Enlightenment first, I'll get scientific theory for free. So I think I'll switch away from scientific theory and maybe pick up some cheaper technologies, or even perhaps head towards steam power to be able to pick up things like canals as well as railroads. It would be very nice to get railroads. I'll need to get an encampment somewhere to actually make use of those railroads, and I'm thinking maybe an encampment in Selkirk on this jungle tile would be really good, because that would get my campus slightly closer to the +4 adjacency that I want to hit this game. So there is the Colossus giving us +1 trade route capacity, and we'll want to get that trader online as soon as possible. Now I have to make a decision about where I actually put this trader, and I kind of feel like trading with India is a really good idea here, because I'll be able to plug in the Vissel banking card soon and get +1 food and +2 production and +2 food on our trade route system. I could alternatively trade with Muscat and get an envoy there, which would get me closer to making my chanceries better. And you know, I actually kind of like the idea of trading with Muscat. I'll probably never get suzerainty of them, but that extra envoy is pretty valuable. Let's get to work on a lighthouse in the capital, although first I think I would like to pick up like a cheap military unit like a crossbowman to give the city +1 amenity. So I'll probably go crossbowman into lighthouse. Let's kill that barbarian warrior. Boom, there's the boost for military science. Just completed our very first harbour with +4 adjacency, netting us 3 era score, which is very nice. I may be able to get a golden manage this era, although there's only 3 turns left, so it's probably not going to happen. I'm tempted to I'm tempted to chop out the lighthouse and then purchase the shipyard. So I think I'll chop this forest to instantly finish the lighthouse, then purchase the shipyard in here, giving this city a massive boost to its productivity and making these coastal tiles better. And then we can immediately get to work on the campus and force the city to grow by chopping another rainforest. So now it's up to 7 population, and we can place our 3rd district in here, which will of course be the encampment. I'll get the campus finished first though, because the Alchemical Society has a lot of value for me. Nice, our siphon funds mission was successful. We managed to steal 500 gold from Congo. It does look like somebody built the Oxford University, so we're not going to be able to get that this game, which is unfortunate. But we do now have even more trade routes than we had before. And honestly, Oxford University is the kind of wonder I don't mind missing out on. It would be really, really great to get it, of course. But if I don't get it, I'm not going to cry over spilt milk, essentially. Right. Ayr has finished its Alchemical Society. I think we want to get our harbour online for that extra trade route. We've got our crossbowmen in our capital giving us +1 amenity in this city. I do need another +1 amenity, and I think maybe trading with the AI and looking for luxuries that I don't have access to. Unfortunately, I share all of my luxuries with my ally here, India, but Cleopatra also lacks any unique luxuries that I could get my hands on. Which kind of means I might be forced to trade with people who I may go to war with. But it looks like nobody really has that many luxuries online. So I guess what I'll do is I'll sell my silk to Egypt for a modest fee, and also throw a little bit of strategic resources her way and grab an extra bit of value from that trade route. I should also open borders. I want to make sure I'm opening borders with as many people as possible, just to keep friendships nice and strong. Due to the completion of the Siphon Funds mission, our spy has indeed leveled up, and I do feel like stealing technology would be a good mission to have a strong spy in, but leveling him up will also give him +1 level, which means he just completes all missions more successcity. Brilliant. We got Kilwa Kisawani, which gives us +3 envoys. It also changes how we're going to want to approach our city-state strategy. We're going to want to have suzerainty of 2 of the same type of city-states so that we get a 15% science boost across our entire empire, which means we're going to start working on things like Mitla as well as Geneva, because we've already got a little bit of an established presence here, and if we can get suzerainty of them, they're going to give us a ton of extra science. I've also been forced into war with Congo, and I'm kind of hoping that they are successful. Although I'm not sure how I was forced into this war. Yeah, I'm a little bit confused about that. Is it a city-state emergency that I voted on? Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was a city-state emergency that I voted on. Well, we're never going to liberate this. So I tell you what I do. I will peace out Congo. He will take just a white piece, which is fine by me. And I'll make sure to renew my alliance with Chandragupta. And I'm going for a military alliance. Although maybe a scientific alliance would be good here. It would give me an extra little bit of science from trading with them, and I do plan to have an ally who I actively trade with, so India may as well be them. Now that we've finished Kilwa, I need to make a decision about what to do in Roxburgh, and I do think that the Alchemical Society is just so high value that I should immediately start building it. Now that we've done quite a bit of harvesting around Selkirk, it's time to start actually improving its tiles so that when we move Magnus out of the city, it's not completely useless. I'm going to continue to harvest though, because I want to get as much of this infrastructure online as soon as possible, especially wanting to get that encampment online as soon as possible, because that's going to be how I get my military engineers and get my railroads and stuff like that. Railroads aren't strictly necessary, but it is nice to have the ability to move troops and units between your cities really easily. It really helps out your builders, moving them across your empire. You get your tiles improved a couple turns sooner. Right, there's scientific theory giving us access to the Oxford University, which someone has already unfortunately built. We also get +1 food from our plantations, and we have quite a few plantations. We also get access to the Enlightenment, which will give us access to rationalism as well as liberalism, both of which are cards that we want to plug in. You can see now my citrus plantations are very, very nice from scientific theory, as well as my silk plantations being quite good too. Anyway, in terms of government things, I think we get rid of Machiavellianism and Merchant Confederation. Instead, we plug in Vissel banking so we can trade with India more efficiently and get better results from that. I absolutely definitely want to plug in rationalism, and in an ideal world, I would plug in liberalism, but I already have Republican legacy, which is kind of just a better liberalism, so I may as well leave that out. Yeah, I don't really see a point in plugging that in. I do see a point in plugging in invention in the near future once I get my industrial zones online. That's a lot of great people points that I could be getting. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy with this government, so we'll leave it plugged in. And our science should jump up significantly here. About 147, we jumped up about 11 points of science, which is pretty damn good. That's going to grow more and more as my cities get bigger, which they are slowly approaching the 15 population limit. Or, well, limit is probably the wrong word. I probably want to get them to hit 16 population, but I think 15 is a good number. Let's take Heartbeat of Steam for our new dedication, because we can build quite a few industrial era buildings over the next 40 turns. Things like sewers could be a great way for us to generate extra era score, as well as, you know, food markets and all that kind of jazz. We got the lighthouse in our capital. I think I'm going to purchase a trader over in Dumfries so that I can send it to Geneva, because I believe one of Geneva's missions is for me to send a trade route to them. Then I probably want to get a couple of trade routes heading over to India. Now, where would that trade route best serve me? Probably over in Dundee. So I'll go ahead and purchase one in here as well. I'm a little bit worried about the amount of troops that Mali has running around my borders. I was planning on declaring war on them and forward settling them and getting them to capture one of my cities and then using that to continuously declare wars of liberation. But their army strength is so insane right now, and their tech advantage over me is a little bit crazy, that I might need to spend a bit more time producing military units in my capital and distributing them around my empire before that is really a viable choice. Because right now they would basically just walk all over me. Chandragupta was hit by an aid request. I'm going to go ahead and vote that up. It's a great way to just get the AI to waste their resources helping someone who's not going to win the game. So getting these to pass is just a really good idea. And not only that, but you can pick up a bit of diplo favor and some diplomatic victory points. Well, I've got a little bit of a problem here. I don't think I can escape with this crossbowman. I might be able to. It really depends. I need to start planning for two really important parts of my plan, and that is golf courses as well as neighborhoods. And I think over here is where my neighborhood. So I need to basically go through and plan for each city where my neighborhood is going and where my golf course is going. I think in Roxborough, my neighborhood will get popped down right here. In Ayr, it's going to go over here on the coastline because it has a really high appeal. And I can probably fit in a pair of golf courses because I believe, if I remember correctly, I think they give +1 appeal, right? Yeah, +1 appeal. So if I place a couple of golf courses right next to this neighborhood, one from Ayr and one from Roxborough, that will give this neighborhood enough adjacency in terms of appeal to be able to make use of the full tilt public transport card, which would give it +4 food and +2 production. One thing about golf courses is they can't be built on desert terrain at all. So for example, in Wigtown, I need to find somewhere where I can put the golf course that's near a neighborhood. And ideally, I would have like really high, appeal on the tile as well. So I think I would want to place it away from this coal because I'll eventually want to improve that coal, which makes it kind of tough to place because there's really just bad appeal in this local area. So I might just accept that this city just has a weaker, neighborhood. Although that said, I could sneak one all the way over here if I bought the tiles. It already has really good appeal. So if I were to plop down a neighborhood here and then slap a golf course adjacent to it, I think that could work really well for me. I do ideally want to be looking for places where I'm going to be putting my my entertainment complexes as well, in order to maximize how much value I get from my golf courses. So for example, if I were to put an entertainment complex here and the golf course right here, this would give the city an extra little bit of culture, which would make up for the fact that I don't have a huge amount of culture because I'm going for a science game. So this kind of like little bit of optimization is really helpful. So I've gone through every single city and done a little bit of planning using pins, placing down my neighborhoods, potential entertainment complex, as well as golf courses in basically every city, trying to make sure that I get really good appeal on my neighborhoods and making use of as much adjacency with the golf courses as possible using the city center and extra adjacency you get off the entertainment complex as well. Golf courses are really cool because you get +2 amenities as well as +2 gold. You also get +1 culture if it's adjacent to a city center and +1 culture if it's adjacent to an entertainment complex. It generates tourism and housing, which is not super important to me. The extra housing is kind of nice, I guess. But you do have to remember, you can only build one of these per city. And they also give additional appeal. So you want to try and like maximize how much value you're getting out of all of those abilities. And I feel like I've done a fairly good job picking out right places, like making sure that, multiple neighborhoods are being hit by at least a golf course or two. So I think that is my big mission over probably the next little while, is to try and get as many of my cities churning away on golf courses as possible. I want to trade with India, but I'm not sure where I should trade with. It looks like Madurai is my best gold route. And it also gives me a little bit of food and production, so we'll take that. And that'll be a significant boost for a city like Dundee. Dumfries, on the other hand, the plan was to trade with Geneva, but I don't think I can actually reach Geneva, so I'm going to have to use a different city to hit Geneva. So I'll probably just pop this over to Scone. Or Scone? Scone? I have no idea how to pronounce the city's name. Right, we have steam power, which gives us access to the railroad. I definitely feel like rushing chemistry here has potential. I'm going to want food markets as well as farm adjacency. So I think heading in that direction is a good one. And picking up sanitation can be a great way for me to generate extra era score, as well as giving me access to the medic. However, this does require me to build 2 neighborhoods to get the boost for. And we're quite a bit away from urbanization, so I may just get this. Although I don't need the housing, this would really be just me churning my my production into housing for no reason and era score. So I might just go through like gunpowder metal casting and head more in the direction of chemistry by going for things like economics. Right, trade with Geneva to get an extra envoy with them. We have pretty good envoy spread right now, and I want to take suzerainty of Geneva at this point. That's going to take it from Mansa Musa, which will upset him a bit, but I get a 15% science boost whenever I'm not at war, and right now I'm not at war, so that's a pretty huge boost. As well as, because Roxburgh has the Kilwa, it'll get a 15% extra boost to its science production. So I'm getting a massive jump in my science ability this turn. Although it just occurred to me that the Mali could declare war on me soon. So instead of going straight for economics, I'm going to pick up field cannons first and then work on economics, because field cannons are just going to be really useful for defending myself. And I think I'm going to grab walls in my vulnerable cities like Haddington and Dundee. Maybe even Montrose should get one as well, because that would provide me with just enough defense in this area. If Mali were to declare war on me like within the next 5 turns, I'd be in really bad shape. But after that, I should be able to hold them off. Right, there's Divine Right giving us access to a bunch of new wonders and stuff like that. But the most important thing is we can now build our golf courses. Oh wait, sorry, no, we need Reformed Church for that. My bad. We need Reformed Church for golf courses, so it'll be another 5 turns before we can start doing that. I had builders in place to like get to work on golf courses, and I just completely forgot. Anyway, let's go ahead and move Magnus over to Dundee, because we're going to start doing a whole bunch of chopping over here to get this city online. Oh, lovely, we can get Alfred Nobel here. Now, he was actually buffed in the last patch, I believe. We did just miss out on Albert Einstein, which really sucks. I should have been paying a bit more attention. I could have picked up that extra +4 science from research labs. But Alfred Nobel is still pretty good here because he gives you 100 free Grey People points towards all current and future Grey People. And I'll go ahead and grab him because there are a lot more Grey People in the game now, so we're more likely to get value out of that. I'll pop him in. And now we have a ton of extra Grey People points. And every time a Grey person is recruited, I believe we get even more. All right, we do have a little bit of a problem in air, so I'll spend some time with my knight trying to clean this up. I'm worried about this trader. It's a bit of a problem. I should have moved that knight out of the city and bought a crossbowman or something in there, but, it's already done. It's already happened. All right, we stole gold successfully from Congo again. I think guerrilla leader can be good to disrupt the Congo as well, because they tend to build a lot of neighborhoods, so being able to destroy them with a higher success chance is pretty good. So unfortunately my trader was killed, which really sucks. In fact, I think I've lost 2 traders to barbarians now, which has me a bit upset, because that's a lot of gold value that I have to rebuild now. Right, we got our Alchemical Society in Roxburgh. I don't really know. Oh, I could get the University of St. Cor. I would give up another one of my Petra Hills, but I would get other civilizations trade routes to the city would provide +1 science and gold for them. And I would get +2 science for every trade route to this city. Domestic trade routes would also give up additional +1 faith to the city. And I'd pick up 3 faith, or 3 science, 1 faith, and 2 great scientists points per turn. That seems pretty good, in all honesty. Is that what I want to do, though? Do I give up a Petra Hill to get the University of St. Cor? Or do I just push harder for things like harbors and maybe even get a couple of military units? I think a frigate... Is a frigate worth getting here? It would give me really, really good defense in these 3 cities, but I'm not worried about India declaring war on me. I only really care about Mansa Musa, and I think in order to defend from him, it would really be land military units that would do the job there. So I think what I'll do is I'll get recruiting on another spy, because I could start stealing gold from Mansa Musa as well. And I have a cheeky little settler heading up here to try and find a spot where I can throw down a city that he might be able to conquer, and then I'll just have access to Liberation War casus bellis for the rest of the game. I need another couple of trade routes, so let's buy one from Haddington. Hopefully I can send it over to India. And I'm also going to grab one in Wigtown, because this city is going to struggle without a trader. Oh wait, I already used up my trade route capacity. Oh, I thought I had another bit of room. So I'll probably move this trader over to Wigtown, because the city's going to take 50 turns to build its campus, which is a little bit too long. It's a bit of a weak city, but it will eventually be very useful. And I think I'm going to nab both of these tiles that I plan to use in this city as well. Are you kidding me, Matt? This is like every single time you're almost finished your dam, the river floods and destroys your districts and destroys your tiles. It's without fail. If you're building a dam, that is like the game's trigger to send you a feckin' flood like. Right, there's Reformed Church. We can start building our golf courses. I have a few builders sort of nearby where they need to be to get that done. We'll be able to get our first golf course over here in Dundee, and that's going to be a massive amount of amenities. I will be doing a lot of harvesting in here as well. I don't think a campus makes sense in this city because we don't really have a good high adjacency place for one, but I do think a harbour makes sense in here because I can get a +2 at the very least, and then that'll become a +3 once we place down our neighbourhood. And I think that's our next goal now, is to head towards neighbourhoods. If I could get a city to 15 population by then, I think I would be in really, really good shape. I'm kind of tempted to get as many traders into my capital as possible and then try to feed it up to 15 population, because it's able to get there. It just needs the food. Right, over in Scone, we have finished our commercial hub. Let's get to work on the market. That'll give me another trade route, which is exactly what we want. And then we'll get to work on the campus in there. Right, so in Wigtown, we're going to trade with Chennai, which will give this city +3 production, which will significantly reduce the amount of time we need to build the campus in here. Let's get to work on the Library and Alchemical Society, although I do really want that armory to be able to get a couple of military engineers, but getting the extra science now is a really, really big deal. Let's place down our very first golf course. You can see here the amenities in Dundee are 0. We pop down that golf course, we get a little bit of era score, we get a slightly better tile that has a bit of food and gold on it, and then we can see we have +2 amenities in here. And as we distribute these golf courses throughout my empire, we'll start to see some really great results. Looks like the Nobel Prize in Physics is up now. This will give us +1 technology boost, as well as the accumulation of resources in cities with a university by 1. So I definitely want to pick these up because that would be really, really nice to have. I'll plug that in, and hopefully I'll be able to generate enough of these points to be able to get that for myself. I think I'm kind of tempted to give myself the 20% faster population growth. So I'm going to put 5 votes in there for myself. It will mean my loyalty is a little bit harder to deal with, but I'm not having loyalty problems right now. And 30 turns of an extra 20% growth would be nice, but it looks like Mavemba actually heavily voted for himself there. Oh no, it looks like Mavemba didn't really vote for himself. Well, he did, yeah, 8 votes. And then, of course, Persia voted for him 7 times as well. It would have been nice to get that, but, not a big deal. Nobel Peace Prize is up now as well, and I'm hoping to get at least silver to get that technology boost, but if I could get gold, I would be super happy. It's kind of tempting to spam out city projects to make sure that I get that. We have 4 envoys right now. I think I want to take Geneva back again because that would put me up to 200 science per turn, and then I want to start working on Mitla as well. I do have Ferdinand Magellan, and I'm going to send him out exploring to see if we can find a luxury that we don't already have access to. Haven't found a single coastal luxury this game, so if I get any of them and are able to claim it with him, that'll be an extra, +1 amenity in 4 cities. Right, so let's harvest this jungle to force the city to grow and to immediately finish the monument. We have a harbour placed. I can't place my neighbourhood yet, but I think an entertainment complex right here in this city would be good too, to keep its amenities nice and high. And we'll also continue to harvest to get this city even more population, because now we can place down a 3rd district. And I feel like we'll go for a theatre square in this city next turn after I harvest this jungle. We'll put it in here, and this will just be a really strong culture city for me. We have the dam in Edinburgh now, which means we have a +7 industrial zone in here, which means we want to get the coal power plant as soon as possible. I think what I might do is hard build the workshop, then purchase the coal power plant, and then go back to building some builders. Right, harvest the jungle in Dundee, like I said, then we'll place down the theatre square, but we'll get to work on the entertainment complex first, and we'll keep on harvesting and getting our golf courses online. We have access to field cannons now, so I'm feeling a lot better defended. Because we'll be able to just get a really, really strong defense up very fast against any Malian aggression when I eventually manage to find a place to pop this city down to try and bait the Mali into war. Hey, we actually found Lautaro, and it's good that we found another player at this point, because that's another potential target for us to get Liberation War Casus Bellis against. And in fact, it probably would have been a good idea to slap a city down here near him, and I'm kind of tempted to chop out a settler here. Just kind of a sneaky quick one. Might switch in the settler card. Because if we could get Lautaro to be our target of Liberation Wars, he's like, he's across the water. We have really good defensive terrain on the coast. It might be the perfect storm to just get that 100% production. I really should have been, optimizing for this in previous episodes, but, it is what it is. Managed to steal another 800 gold from Congo, and this spy is now max level. I'm tempted to make him into a quartermaster and move him back to my territory, but I feel like con artist is good here. Being able to just generate insane amounts of gold from stealing from the AI is just really, really valuable to me. Right, let's get another golf course down in Ayr. Currently the city has +1 amenity. If I place down the golf course, it's now up to +3, which means we're getting all of the Scotland bonuses that we want to be getting. Haddington is also at +1 amenity, so if we place down the golf course in here, we're now up to +3 amenities. That's why I'm not too worried about going a little bit wider than I would maybe go in another game. I'm also going to pay the 110 gold to take out Republican Legacy and just kind of quickly squeak in colonization over in Dundee, and then we'll do a double harvest with Magnus to get that settler instantly, and we'll send it across the water and try to settle near Lautaro. I'm going to denounce him in order to get just a more favorable war declaration, and I'll try to just lose this city to him essentially, and then we just have a permanent, city that we can use to declare liberation wars. Library finished in Dumfries. Let's get to work on the Alchemical Society. It's a 23 turn build, but I think it's still worth it, even if it takes that long. Can I get the kill on this musketman? I can. And that means that because I've managed to secure a Liberation War target over here, I probably don't need to use this settler to do the same thing with Mali. Because they're just a little bit more scary, whereas Lautaro, he's kind of across the water. I don't have to worry about him.
Behold the
oh wow, we found Ha Long Bay. It's one of my favorite natural wonders. Unfortunately, it didn't spawn anywhere near me to the point where I could take advantage of it. There is plenty of room for more cities, though, on this map. I'm a little bit disturbed about the lack of coastal luxury spawning. I wonder, though, I could have probably gotten... No, he didn't have any spare luxuries, so unfortunate. I wonder, Egypt, will you pay me well for my citrus? 4 gold per turn, not exactly well paid, but you kind of got to take what you can get at this point. Let's go ahead and... Do I recruit partisans to try to slow down Congo? I think I do. It's an 8-turn thing, but it will spawn some enemy units near him, and that'll, it probably won't stop him too much, but it is just like a little bit of a help. He also has his offshore oil rigs up on his geotherms. Yeah, he's super far ahead technologically. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he was like unlocking spaceports soon. Even Persia is a bit ahead of me. I'm about 7 technologies behind the top science victory player right now, but I should be able to catch up. My science is constantly increasing. I'm closing the gap. Right, over in Roxburgh, we do have +1 amenity, so we'll buy our golf course tile. We'll place the golf course, and now we have +3 amenities, giving us the 15% bonus to all yields, essentially, from those positive amenities alongside the Scotland bonus. I have another spy. I think this one's going to go over to Mali because I could steal 1,384 gold off of him. Although I am also tempted... Yeah, I'll do this in Mali. We're starting to hit our population limit in Roxburgh in terms of housing, so I think we'll go for harbour or aqueduct into harbour here. I have room for my 3rd district over here as well, and I'm not sure what I want it to be. This city is not going to get hit by an industrial zone, which kind of sucks. I could get the mausoleum in here, and you know what? Double charges on my great engineers seems worth it to me. And then that also opens up a pretty good theatre square here later. from adjacency, which is something I do want to do. Getting a little bit of culture is good. And then potentially another really, really good entertainment complex here too, that just, all works together to give me tons of amenities, tons of culture, tons of science. Harvest in Dundee, first harvest, and then our second harvest that instantly finishes the harbour. I definitely want to get my lighthouse online as soon as possible to give this city extra housing, and so that we can also get our shipyard in here pretty quick. We're running out of harvesting spots though in here. There's only a couple more build charges too. Wow, I really still haven't found a single coastal luxury, which is kind of annoying. There just might not be any on the Highlands map. There's mercantilism. This allows me to build lumber mills on rainforest, which will be good in certain circumstances. All right, pop this city down. Basically forward settle him, get some era score, and then we can declare a formal war in 2 turns and try to get this city killed. Bit worried about this Cuirassier Corps army that's coming my way. It's going to be tough to deal with. I do have my first field cannons coming out, and I have the gold to emergency improve some field cannons in my coastal cities as well. Problem is, field cannons don't really stand up to Cuirassier Corps. Right, there's economics giving me access to the stock exchange as well as Big Ben. Let's also make a friendship with Cleopatra, just so that we have that locked in. And I think we're making our way towards chemistry here, so I'll go for replaceable parts into chemistry. I need a lot more build-out charges. I just finished the workshop in Edinburgh, which means I can purchase the factory, and then I'll be able to purchase the coal power plant soon. So let's get to work on a few more builders in here. I need to get some traders too, and I think I'll be able to get some spies soon. So I have a lot that I need to build, and it's really just about trying to find the time and energy and resources to actually build them. I will grab the shipyard. Is the +2 shipyard in here worth it? I think it is, because it's worth a lot of food, a lot of gold and stuff like that. So I'll probably do like a harvest in here, and then maybe I'll buy 1 more tile in the city and then call it done in terms of harvesting. Oh, looks like I managed to find someone's little settler out here in the wilds. Yoink, that's mine now. Let's pop down a city up here in the north. Eventually this will be a useful city, but for now it's just kind of like a bait city for Mali to crash their armies into, so I'll get to work on ancient walls there. It also just provides a little bit of room between me and their cities. Okay, I'm not quite generating enough resources to hit even bronze right now in the Nobel Peace Prize. So I'm tempted to run Harbour Research grants. I also need to start thinking about getting the upgrade for my Hermetic Order. I need to find where my next governor titles are. And it looks like the next one is at nationalism, so we're getting it basically as soon as possible. Let's grab our chanceries. I've kind of delayed this a while, and I need that +3 influence per turn to be able to influence more city-states. Now that I have Kilwa, the value of the chancery is increased massively, because if I can get suzerainty of these 2 city-states, it would be just a massive boost to my science. Right, Mali has denounced me, which means he's likely to declare war on me within the next 5 turns. He also has one of my cities surrounded, which is a bit concerning. We did, however, get our first industrial zone with +4 adjacency, so that's nice. What I'm going to do now is declare a formal war on Lautaro and hope that he kills my city, and then just peace him out and surrender that city later on. Right, shipyard completed in Dundee. Let's grab our arena for the extra amenity, and then we'll work on the Oh, it's actually a 10-pop city now, so I could place down another district. I don't think I need another district, so I'll just leave it the way it is. Alright, looks like it happened. Mali has declared war on me. That's really unfortunate. He managed to actually steal a builder. Pretty much every single one of my forward cities now needs to have a field cannon in it. So I'm going to go through and upgrade my field cannons and try to just break down his armies as they approach. I'll also need walls in some of my less defended cities. So I have some problems right now, especially Montrose. Montrose is extremely vulnerable. I'm going to cancel this, get to work on some field cannons instead, and I'd like to reset my government to be able to change what I'm working on, which is great. It's not so great actually, because I really need nationalism to finish. So I'm in a bit of a tough spot. But I do have the units to be able to hold him off, at least in the short term. Geneva, I'm hoping Geneva will be able to defend themselves against these two bombards. Geneva may fall, and then I might have to try and liberate them later. I can, however, get my... Can I get my ally to join the war? He's already in the war, so that's great. Maybe I could get Egypt to join the war. Yeah, it looks like Egypt would join the war, but it would cost me way too many resources to get them to jump in. Alright, so the pillaging has begun. They're doing damage to my cities. They're trying to surround Edinburgh. But I think the important thing is to just prevent as much damage to my cities as possible by hammering out and killing as many of their units as I can. I'm okay with losing suzerainty of Geneva now, because I would rather they survived than me having suzerainty of them, because their bonuses for when you're at peace, and I'm not at peace, so it doesn't really do much for me right now. Let's get to work on the Alchemical Society in Wigtown. We'll also get our golf course here, giving the city a nice amount of amenities. City needs a bit of housing too. Yep, my city has taken damage and it's under siege, which is a bit of a problem. But if I can get this musketman killed, it won't be under siege anymore. And I think I have enough damage to do that because my field cannon is highly promoted. And that'll mean that the city takes less damage and it's a little bit less under threat. I'm worried about this angle of attack too. There's a lot of cuirassiers here, all milling about Geneva. But I do have a pretty good defensive line here. Montrose is definitely going to want a field cannon to try to provide, a defensive fortification area here. And I need to hold off on this knight until I can get enough gold to turn him into a cuirassier as well. Let's grab Magnus and reassign him over to Dumfries. Surprised that the Mapuche haven't tried to take Galashiels yet. Very, very surprised by that. I thought they would be all over that. But it looks like they don't have much of a military. Anyway, I'm hoping that being at war with them kind of encourages them to build up a little bit of a military. Let's keep stealing gold from Congo. This is basically fueling my economy right now. That's helping me really, really hold off against Mali. Yep, my city is under really, really bad threat right now. I need to kill this cuirassier to reduce the total amount of damage that's pumping into my city. And it should be easy enough because we're killing about a unit every turn or two, which should be enough to keep us safe. There's replaceable parts, giving us access to the food market, which will become really useful once we have neighborhoods, as well as upgrading our farms. Don't have a huge amount of farms that are going to be able to take advantage of that right now, because we've been managing to grow our empire without farms at the moment. But I'm a little bit worried about Edinburgh, but I'm hoping that this musketman doesn't promote. Geneva seems to be holding just fine against Mali. Category 5 hurricane up by air. This is really not what I needed. Their musketman did try to retreat, which is nice for me because I'll get a bit of experience from shooting him, which is perfect. I also get +3 arrow score for killing him. And now we can also work on this vampire. And this city should start recovering health. And I'll be able to build the medieval walls and repair the walls in here after a few turns of, not being attacked. Let's get to work on that coal power plant because it would be nice to have access to power at this point in the game. Lighthouse on the way as well. Got more trade routes, all that sort of jazz, all coming down the pipeline. Kind of tempted to settle a crappy, I might settle it near the volcano actually. A crappy sort of snow city to try and just, I got a settler for free. I may as well just throw a city down here in the hopes that maybe I find oil or something later on in the game up in the Arctic. All right, double shot on the vampire to bring him down to near death. And then I should be able to kick him back to Mali's empire with my cuirassier. Perfect. Nice. There is nationalism. That gives me the ability to recruit another spy as well as combine my units together to get stronger units. But more importantly, it also gives me another governor title and I can pick up magus. This gives me, for every great person that I've recruited, my ley lines get +1 yield equal to that great person's district type. So great admirals and great scientists earn +1 science. I click this button and now my ley lines are very nice. They got 4 science on them, 2 gold, 2 production, and 2 food. And you can see here, a lot of people were asking me, wait, why did you settle on the ley lines? It's because you still get the yields from the ley lines in the city, because the city center actually works the tile that it is settled upon. That's gonna be it for me, though. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!